a master at work.
What is up, everybody? It is another beautiful day in the hobby. I am not Jason Darnick.
You are not Jason Darnick.
I am Grayson Nolette. Alongside me is big, sexy Bradley Crenshaw, stepping in for Jason today as he is out. Got a little bit of a tummy ache.
Yeah, he might need to take him some Pepto and,
Well, hope you get better soon, man. We're here for you, and I'm here for you as I'm stepping in for DCI Podcast, episode 32. Got to use his catchphrase, though. Another beautiful day in the hobby, as always, Brad.
Yeah, you did.
It's a great day to be at DCI.
Absolutely.
So before we
still haven't upgraded these mics yet because
still getting stuck in that beard.
It's getting hung in my beard.
I unfortunately do not have that problem. I can't seem to grow one, but it's okay. We're not going to worry about that right now. We got a ton of NFL stuff.
Must be my first time to ever, do a podcast show because I left my ringer on my phone.
What are you doing over there, man?
I mean, you don't show up at a podcast show and leave your ringer on.
I'm pretty sure mine's on silent.
It's my first day. Sorry, it's my first day.
Well, we've got a ton of NFL topics to touch on, both kind of just league-related and hobby-related. We'll touch on both sides of those things. But before we get into that, I want to touch on some college football first because on Monday we witnessed
before you jump into that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What you got?
I do kind of want to talk just a minute. So if you notice, I'm not in a DCI shirt today.
You're not.
I'm not. You would think maybe that I work for Secure Trade Club. But actually, if you have not checked out Secure Trade Club, you need to get over there.
Let's give it a big shout out right here.
Absolutely.
Right now.
William and that group are amazing. They are huge supporters of DCI. We really appreciate you. Secure Trade Club runs an auction house is what they do. They run a marketplace and auctions, and you're able to go on there with, I believe it's 1% or maybe not even be a seller's fee. You actually, I think you just pay a monthly fee to be part of Secure Trade Club.
Okay.
And then everything you sell, you don't pay fees on.
Ooh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. So I do know they've been running a lot of auction stuff like fantasy auctions to where they put up, 2 autographed jerseys or an autographed jersey versus, so like I think they did like a Jalen Hurts and a what's his name, Justin Fields one time.
Yeah, I think they even put up a DCI RCR for one of those one time.
They did. But they had a Jalen Hurts and a Justin Fields two cards on auction. And then they had an autographed jersey that they were giving away on there too. But their 2 cards when they did this little fantasy game to where if Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts, whichever one had the most rushing yards and you won that auction, you got all your money refunded back to you. So you got the card for free. So they do some really cool things. So I suggest going over to Secure Trade Club, checking those guys out, follow them on Instagram. They're absolutely amazing people, fully trustworthy in the hobby, and that's one of the big things to me is being able to trust somebody in this space, and they are that particular, group of people. So get over to Secure Trade Club.
I don't think you can see it on the shirt, but it's securetradeclub.com, guys.
Right
got to check them out. I love their branding, too. They do a great job with their branding as well.
Absolutely.
So as a marketing guy, I definitely respect that, and
they
are some great people.
I love the shirts.
Yeah, feeling good.
They fit good. And I'm picky on my clothes anyway. It's got to fit a certain way. Shirts feel good. They're
nice.
Great. Yeah.
They're great people, guys. I mean, we've interacted with them at multiple shows. They've even come over to us sometimes when they've had some, vintage. They've had some vintage cards that you've taken a look at for some people, and they've connected some customers over to us and some good people over to us. So, we've had a great time collaborating with them. So make sure you guys check them out. SecureTradeClub.com is their website. And I believe they're just Secure Trade Club on all of their social media. Some great people. Got to check out what they've got going on. So,
all right, now into this college football
stuff. There we go. Okay, so like I said, tons of NFL stuff to touch on, but I do want to touch on college football real quick because college football has finally ended on Monday night with the national championship game. I didn't want to call it a game.
I don't even think it was a game.
No, it was a slaughter is what it was, if we're being perfectly honest.
The worst defeat in national championship history.
What was it, 65-7 was the final?
65-7.
Man, Georgia just absolutely taking it to the TCU Horned Frogs, which, I mean, man, I think we all, as we're based out of Texas here in Frisco, and I think we wanted to see TCU put up a fight. I personally didn't want to see Georgia go back-to-back. I mean, I like Georgia. I like Kirby Smart, but I really wanted to see if TCU could give them a little something. But, man, that was tough.
I wasn't pulling for TCU.
No, you weren't?
I was not. Even though they're right here in our backyard, I was not. And it's all about the SEC for me.
I mean, same here. I know you're an LSU guy. Yes. I'm a Bama guy. Roll Tide, but, man, it was ugly for anybody who took on some of those top SEC schools in general. I feel like in these bowl games. I mean, there was the big, massive blowout, LSU crushing Purdue. Bama handled Kansas State very easily in their bowl game. And then you had Georgia taking it to Ohio State and then TCU in the college football playoff. Those top SEC schools are not to be messed with. No. And I think that when the college football playoff gets expanded to 12 teams, I think you're just going to continue to see the SEC dominate.
That's exactly right. I think when it expands, it's not expanding this next year; it's the next.
Yeah, I think we still got a couple years.
Yeah, so when it expands, when it gets to the Final Four, you're going to see a minimum of 2, but probably 3 SEC teams in the Final Four every year, and it's gonna prove the fact of the SEC being the most dominant conference in all of college football. In all of college football, I would have taken Ole Miss over TCU to play against Georgia.
You mentioned that one to me. I mean, I think it obviously would have been a little bit closer than I think even LSU or Bama, but I think Ole Miss, would have had a pretty fun time against TCU. Do you think TCU even deserved to be in the playoff, even with the season that they had?
They don't play in a tough enough conference. I mean, who did they play? Who did they actually beat that was worth being there? And, I'm not a Bama fan, but I will back up to the whole Bama. And, I can't be a Bama fan if I'm, a Tiger.
Well, I'm not an LSU fan, so but I absolutely think LSU would have dominated TCU.
I will give respect to Nick Saban. I think he is by far the best college football coach of all time. It's just the way he runs his organizations, and I like that about him. But, Nick Saban made a comment back before they selected the Final Four.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He said, if Alabama was going to be favored against any of the 4 teams that was there, shouldn't they be in the top 4? If you look at the top 4 of who was there, which was Georgia, Missouri, Ohio State, and TCU. Out of those 4, Bama would have been favored in 3 of those games. They would have been favored against TCU. They would have been favored against Ohio State, and they would have been favored against Michigan. We can all say at the end of the season, Alabama played some great football, but they lost some games early on that they shouldn't have lost that put them in those situations.
I honestly couldn't agree more. And I mean, just as a Bama fan, I think it was, unfortunately, I don't think we've had as much talent in with this team this season as we have in seasons past. And also, I'm not a big fan of our defensive coordinator, Pete Golding. I think we need to get him the heck out of there. So I'm hoping that Saban's able to snap this program back into shape. They're bringing in one of the best recruiting classes that they've had in the last several years. So he's still not messing around. And he did an interview recently, too, where they asked him, I think it was a former player on ESPN or something. They were like, man, do you ever get tired? And he's like, tired of what? Winning? So, I think
mean, he's won 80% of his games since he's been there.
He ain't going anywhere. Nick Saban's not going anywhere. For anybody who wants to think that he's leaving anytime soon, it's not going down. And I think, actually, Brian Kelly over there with LSU, at beginning of the season, I think we can agree, looked a little rough for them.
Man.
But I think he got them, again, really whipped into shape in the back half of the year.
I think he's turning the program around, or will continue to turn the program around. And I do believe.
And anytime you beat Bama, that's a big win.
I do believe going into this next year, we're gonna come out. I honestly don't even care about preseason rankings, and it goes back to the SEC because LSU plays in the SEC, and we're always going to play Bama, and we're always going to play the top schools. And so all we have to do is take care of business. And if it doesn't matter to me if we come out unranked like we did this year, we still made our way all the way down to the top 5 before, buckling at the end, on a terrible game. But, it happens. And so I really look for LSU to have a strong season this next year and make a run into into the college football playoffs.
I also didn't mention Tennessee destroying Clemson in their bowl game too. So, I mean, SEC domination in some of those higher bowl games this year.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah,
also,
LSU won like I think it was like 63-7, something like that. It was a destroy. They destroyed.
It was the same thing for Tennessee and none of those games were close. Yeah. None of them. The only one was Georgia Ohio State was a fairly close game, but yeah. Buckle up, guys. When the playoff gets expanded, it's going to be all SEC, and Brad and I are saying it here first, just so you know. So, wanted to touch on that. Also, you said you wouldn't have gone for TCU. Well, Mattress Mac did. So
he did $3.1 million.
There are some memes out there of him just looking defeated at the game. Man, I would feel bad for the guy, but I know he just won with the Houston Astros winning the World Series. Yep. I know that he came out on top on that bet, so I'm sure he's going to be fine. But you win some, you lose some.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Well, I just wanted to touch on that, with college football finally wrapping up with that destruction of a game. Excuse me. But now I kind of want to get into some calls to action. First off, oh my gosh, maybe it's my first podcast. I want to get into some calls to action.
I thought this is what you do.
It is what I do. I feel like I'm doing pretty okay right now. But hey, first off, I want to give a shout out to our boy Jason. I know he's not on the air right now, but he has been crushing it on our Whatnot, you guys. So make sure you go check us out at DCI Grading on Whatnot. And I believe that you've got a stream on Saturday as well.
I do got a stream. He inspired me. And not so much as to run a stream. He inspired me with WNBA.
Dude, I'm telling you.
And so I bought 2 cases of WNBA basketball
Prism,
stuff.
right?
Prism. 2 cases.
Ooh.
And I am ripping those Friday afternoon. And then I'm going to prep every one of them up, and I'm going to run them on our Whatnot stream on Saturday morning. And I'm not going to the Dallas show. And so that's my way of still being able to do the cards. And the reason being is I'm going into some major, ink therapy on Thursday. I'm getting a big shoulder piece done on my shoulder. And I do not want to show up at the Dallas show and somebody tap me on the shoulder, put their arm around me. Hey, man, how you doing? Yeah. And me want to try to kill somebody because I'm literally going to be under the needle for about 8 hours.
Well, if you want to get involved with DCI this weekend, guys, you've got 2 different ways to do it. Come out and see us at the Dallas Card Show as well. We're going to be doing $10 RCRs, $12 slab submissions all weekend long. We know that's our tried and true show. So I'll be out there. The rest of the team will be out there. But you're going to be on the Whatnot stream on Saturday.
I will be on the Whatnot stream.
Running some WNBA Prism.
So jump on Whatnot. Come buy some WNBA Prism from us.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun stream. I'll have to check it out, even if I'm at the show, just to see how you're doing. So right. I bet you're going to be having some fun. Hopefully you pull some bangers out of those cases.
We'll see.
But yeah, Jason is absolutely the king of WNBA Prism and WNBA
I'm
cards.
actually going to get a stack started to the right just to throw it off a little bit.
Okay.
So
Jason usually is on the left. You're I got you. I got you. All right. Well, also, guys, want to give another call to action as well. We've got our RCR farewell tour going on. Now, it's going to be $10 per card at the Dallas Card Show for RCRs, Brad. But if you mail in cards to us here in the DCI office, that's just $3 per card for the RCR. We're saying farewell to them. We're on our farewell tour right now. March 31st is when that ends. We've already got some people who are sending in some pretty big orders taking advantage of that.
Yep.
So make sure you guys keep sending those into the office if you want to take advantage of that promo. $3 RCRs through the mail only. Or if you live in the area, you can drop them off to us at our office as well.
David Marino actually has a private truck coming to his house to pick up an order to ship to us.
Oh, a whole truckload, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to David Marino. He is a loyal DCI fan and just I feel like a brother of DCI. So that's awesome to hear. But yeah, we've already had some people send in and lots of people send in tons of different orders of various sizes. I know we just had like another 30, 40 card order that someone just mentioned me through Instagram that they dropped off at the office, and those are just rolling in. So make sure you guys keep taking advantage of that farewell tour for the RCR promo, $3 per card on that. Those are the calls to action, Brad. Lots going on this week for DCI. We got the Whatnot. We got the Dallas Card Show. Got the farewell tour. We're also getting some things done on the media side of things as well. Getting some I won't talk too much about. We'll talk about it more on a future date, but we're always leveling up here at DCI is all I'm going to say. All right, let's get into the NFL topics for today. First thing is the coaching carousel has officially begun here in the offseason already. I believe they call it Black Monday is the Monday after the regular season ends. And the NFL, I guess, isn't trying to use that term anymore because they don't want to celebrate, coaches getting fired. But I feel like as fans, we want to see these bad coaches out of here, if you root for any of those teams. So tons of guys already got fired during the season. Matt Rule for the Panthers is out. Frank Reich for the Colts is out. Nathaniel Hackett for the Broncos, all out during the regular season. And then on that, Black Monday, you saw Lovie Smith for the Houston Texans, one and done. He's out of there. And you also saw Cliff Kingsbury for the Arizona Cardinals just a season after he signed a big extension with them. He is out as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, and they also let their GM go as well.
That's the one I do not agree with.
Really?
I am in agreement with every one of those except the firing of Cliff Kingsbury.
Talk to me why.
Because he is a great offensive mind. He was a great coach with Tech, and he worked with Patrick out there, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's true.
Everybody knows who that is. He has a great offensive mind. He just doesn't have a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I know you're not a big Kyler Murray
no.
fan, so you're saying Kyler Murray's the problem over there in Arizona.
Kyler Murray is 100% the problem.
Wow. All right.
Yes. If anybody should have been out, it should have been Kyler Murray.
Okay.
That he doesn't have and he didn't have, one of the best receivers in the NFL for, several games in DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, but they did bring in Hollywood Brown. They brought in.
That's not a great possession receiver.
That's fair enough.
He's one of those flashy guys that, that's the reason they call him Hollywood.
Yeah, that's true. So he is a downfield threat, whereas Hopkins, I feel like you throw a ball just in his general vicinity, he's coming down with that thing.
DeAndre Hopkins is also a great possession receiver, just like Davante Adams. That's just that they demand and they, usually deliver when throwing the ball enough. So, but they got to have a quarterback to throw them the ball. They got to be able to push the ball down the field. And, this running around like Kyler Murray does,
yep.
With his little ball, he holds the ball out here. He doesn't even protect it.
Yep.
That's, to me, he is not a quarterback at all. Kyler Murray is a slot receiver. That's where he should be. He should be like a Wes Welker.
Man, all right.
He should learn how to catch the ball rather than throw the ball because he is not a quarterback.
I will say this, whether you're right or not, I feel like we're going to figure out, right? Yep. In a couple of years when Kyler Murray's back on the field. I've heard rumors that he is going to be able to come back for week 1 of the 2023 season. So we'll see how that goes. He's currently, recovering from that knee injury, that non-contact knee injury that he got, torn ACL and such. But yeah, I think at the end of the season, obviously the Cardinals, I think they had 4 wins in 2022. Like, you had to blame somebody, right? And I just think that the organization decided that, all right, we either blame Kyler or we blame Cliff. And it looks like that they decided to blame Cliff and the general manager on top of it because their defense has not really – they've invested a lot in that defense, and it's been mediocre at best, I feel like, as well. So they've got a lot to fix over in that organization. They were expected to be a Super Bowl contender this year, probably one of the overall biggest disappointments that I feel like nobody really talked about at the end of the season just because of the Kyler injury and stuff. But even before Kyler went down, they were not looking very good at all. Yeah. Well, with that, like I mentioned, all those guys out already of head coaching jobs. So you've got some big teams looking for a new leader of the ship. And there's a lot of big names out there that are available. The biggest one, obviously, Sean Payton, former head coach of the Saints. He's already in talks with the Broncos. You have to get permission from New Orleans to have head coaching conversations with him. So the Saints approved that for the Broncos. I don't believe he's been approved to interview with any other teams. But, you've got some other guys in there. A dude who was just in the college football playoff, Jim Harbaugh. There's rumors that he's looking to maybe come back to the NFL. There's a couple defensive coordinators out there as well. Raheem Morris, the DC for the Los Angeles Rams, is getting interviews. Both of the coordinators for the Dallas Cowboys, Kellen Moore and Dan Campbell, are both getting interviews, as well as DeMeco Ryans, who is the defensive coordinator for the Niners. Now, that's a guy, former NFL linebacker for the Houston Texans. I don't know if you remember him, multiple-time All-Pro guy. There's a lot of big names out there, but I think that DeMeco Ryans one is a bit of a sleeper. He's a younger guy, but he has done some great things with that 49ers defense.
The best coach available, if he will sign, is Sean Payton.
And I know you've talked about this on past episodes as well.
He is the best coach, and he's not going to the Broncos. He's going to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I know your big prediction.
He is going to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are playing the Bucs in round 1, and they will
Tampa
continue their normal playoff one and done. And even though Tampa Bay is not playing good football
they're not
all.
No, they're not.
I will say that I don't care if he's 80. I'm taking Tom Brady in the playoffs over Dak Prescott every day of the week.
Especially after that Washington game. Dak looked very rough.
Playoff Tom is a different level. And
it's true.
I'm calling it now. Tampa Bay wins this weekend, right?
I believe they actually played the Monday night game.
Okay, so they're on the Monday night game. Tampa wins, and it will not take long after that win for Mike McCarthy to lose his job, and then you will start seeing the Cowboys asking for the New Orleans Saints permission to interview Sean Payton.
So there's your Sean Payton call, and you've talked, like I said, you've talked about that on other episodes. That's your call. Dallas loses in the first round. They fire McCarthy. They hire Payton. I like that prediction. I really do. Now, the only other coach I really want to ask you about is Jim Harbaugh. Do you think Jim Harbaugh, after making the college football playoff and having massive success over the past 2 seasons in Michigan, do you think he really decides to go back to the NFL?
No.
I just don't see that happening.
No, he's a good college coach. He was not a good NFL coach. Same way with Nick Saban. Nick Saban come and coached the Miami Dolphins and was horrible.
Yeah,
college football,
he wasn't great.
He's phenomenal. So it's no. Jim Harbaugh needs to stay in college football.
I could get really deep into that Nick Saban conversation in the NFL because a lot of people don't remember he never had a quarterback there in Miami. And he tried to go after Drew Brees at that time, who eventually went on to play with Sean Payton and the Saints. And I've always had the prediction that, man, if Saban had gotten Drew Brees over to play there in Miami instead of New Orleans, I feel like his NFL outlook could have been a lot different.
Well, if Cliff Kingsbury would have got
totally
Patrick Mahomes, then he would still have a job.
I think you might be right about that one too. So it's all about the quarterback, right?
Yes.
So, but I do totally see where you're coming from. I think the only issue, too, with Jim is that he took a pay cut, I think, a couple seasons ago with Michigan, and now he wants to get paid more, obviously. Yeah. So I think if Michigan coughs up the bag, I don't see him leaving from college to the NFL. No. But I was just curious about him specifically. Yep. These other defensive coordinators, those Dallas coordinators like Kellen Moore and stuff, I don't really care where they go. Nah. I don't think that they're going to prove too much. If they do, then, good on them. But those were the 2 guys I really wanted to talk about. But, you already gave us your prediction. Bucs over Cowboys on Monday night. So let's go ahead and jump into these other NFL wildcard games real quick. I want to do just game predictions just for wildcard weekend. We don't got to go all the way to the Super Bowl. But let's roll through these real quick. First off, we got Jags versus Chargers.
Chargers.
And it's in Jacksonville.
Chargers.
Chargers right off the bat?
Chargers.
All right. I'm going to go Chargers as well. Good on the Jags for making it, but I'm going to go Chargers. All right, next we got Bengals versus Ravens. It's in Cincinnati.
Bengals.
I'm going Bengals as well. I mean, even if Lamar plays.
They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. I think I got to go
Lamar is not a quarterback. Lamar is an athlete.
All right, there you go. Even if he does play, yeah. He's been out for over a month. You got to give that one to Cincy. They are balling right now. Bills versus Dolphins.
Bills.
I know you like the Bills a lot. I'm going Bills as well. Dolphins don't have a quarterback either. It's confirmed Tua is out. Skylar Thompson is starting at quarterback in that game for the Dolphins as well.
Bills won the Super Bowl.
Buffalo Bills over Dolphins for both of us here. Bucks versus Cowboys. You say Bucks. I hate to. I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to say Cowboys. Why not? Let's go. Let's give it to Dak. I hope that the Cowboys can maybe make it happen, make this city happy for once. But Tom Brady is a different animal in the playoffs, so we'll see how that one goes. Yep. Next, we got Vikings versus Giants.
Boo.
I know. And with the way the Vikings have played and the way the Giants have played, I really want to say that the Giants have a really good shot, even as a Vikings fan, but I got to go with Minnesota.
I'm going Vikings because they've got one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Justin Jefferson is a baller for sure. But the Giants have played some pretty good football this year. Brian Daboll is absolutely, I think, coach of the year in my opinion, the way he's turned that organization around. Last one, 49ers versus Seahawks.
49ers.
Yeah, it's absolutely 49ers. San Francisco's going to the Super Bowl. I think they look like the best team in the NFL going into the playoffs. Would you agree with that?
San Francisco 49ers against the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl.
With Brock Purdy leading the way at that.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Brock Purdy's going to change the way that this league looks at quarterbacks if he wins a Super Bowl. I'm just going to say that
he won't
now.
win it. The Bills are going to win it. They have a higher power.
Well, guys, that is going to do it for this week's DCI podcast. Those are Brad and I's predictions for the NFL wildcard. Maybe we'll ask Jason to tweet out his predictions since he wasn't able to make it into the studio today.
Real quick, it is so, wonderful to see the recovery of Damar Hamlin.
It really is. And I wanted to get more into him. He just got discharged from the hospital. Yep. We're recording this podcast on a Wednesday. He just got discharged from the hospital today. It's been amazing to see the support that he's gotten and the way that people have donated to his charity and everything. I would love to talk more about what that kind of meant, I feel like, for the NFL on future episodes as well, and kind of just the overall idea of, injuries and even deaths, in sports and the hobby and how that can kind of impact things. It's a very obviously delicate topic, but nonetheless, you're absolutely right. It's amazing to see the recovery that Damar Hamlin has had. So, I've been praying for him. I think everybody has. Shout out to Damar Hamlin. Big ups to him. Glad he got discharged from the hospital today. I think we're going to talk more about that on a future episode for sure, because I think that's something we got to dive into a little bit more. But it's great to see his recovery. So thank you for bringing that up. Guys, this was DCI Podcast, episode 32. Make sure you check us out on Whatnot. Get in there with Big Sexy on Saturday at DCI Grading on Whatnot, guys. RCR Farewell Tour, $3 RCRs, mail-in orders only. And we're at the Dallas Card Show all weekend long this weekend, guys. I'll be there. The rest of the team will be there. So make sure you come and say hi to us at the Dallas Card Show as well. One of the biggest card shows, one of the best in the entire country.
Hey, closing that out. Hey, great job.
Oh, no, yeah. Thank you.
Do you know that on Sunday, Josh Allen threw 3 touchdown passes?
Oh, you did mention this to me. Yeah.
And it was 3 years and 3 months since they had a kickoff return for a touchdown.
And they had 2 of them in the game.
Yeah, but 3 years.
Including the opening kickoff.
3 years and 3 months. And what number does Damar wear?
Number 3.
I'm telling you, a higher power is involved. Bills won the Super Bowl.
Watching that opening kickoff gave me chills. That was crazy. Patriots were a good team. There's no way they were going to win that game.
No.
There was no way. But that was amazing to see. It, like you said, there had to have been something involved in that one because that was crazy. But good way to end it. Yep. Guys, I'm Grayson Nolette. This is Big Sexy Bradley Crenshaw over here to my right. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel as well, guys. I did not mention that one. Like, comment, subscribe, all of our social media. We'll see you next time. DCI Podcast.